It's the Underpowered Hour. On this week's show, we're joined by Kathleen and Ralf Sarek to talk all about Rebelle Rally tech inspection and seeing Team 155 on their way. And now, without further delay, here's the show. Welcome to the Underpowered Hour. I'm Steve Beres, mild-mannered television executive by day and Land Rover collector by night. You can find out more about our cars and what we're working on at theberescollection.com or follow us on Instagram at theberescollection. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Goss.
Thank you to everyone joining us today. I am the pushrod to Steven's hydraulic lifter. I am the clattery tappet of podcasting, Goss. I own and operate Pangolin 4x4 in Springfield, Oregon, where we live and breathe Land Rovers. Check us out online on Facebook, Instagram at Pangolin 4x4. Let's get started.
All right, Ike. Well, this week we are officially in to the Rebelle Rally. It's actually been happening for days now.
We're up to our necks.
Oh my God! The girls are trudging through the dunes as we speak, and
they're doing really well.
Quite well. They're doing really well. Yeah, they're hanging in there. Now, we recorded this Saturday, the 11th, midday, halfway through day 2. So if something terrible befalls them tomorrow, we're strangely optimistic, I realize. But hey, you never know.
It's all right. There's no other way to be.
No, it's going to be great. And we have some of the fellow Dream Team pit crew teammates on with us here, both Ralf and Kathleen Sarek from the old Sarek Auto Working out there in Virginia. But before that, a quick news item.
Well, I just want to say, before we get into that, if you're interested in following along, you can do so at rebellerally.com, I believe it is.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, just Google Rebelle Rally. Yeah, they have all the standings.
Flow charts, daily totals, everything, all the stuff you can want. And if you want to watch the dots live, you can head over to YB Racing, and you can download the YB Racing app, or you can go to their website and look at the app. You have to add Rebelle Rally 2025 as your race, and then you can watch little dots moving around.
Also a YouTube show each day, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Yep. So if you're really a glutton for punishment, check them out, follow them along, support them if you can. But
of course, there's also our daily recap here on the Underpowered Hour over on the YouTube and things. A short 5-minute recap from Brody and I about what happened that day. For those of you who either don't understand the scoring system, because it is a little weird how it all comes together, and we'll give you all those scoring and all that sort of highlights. And there you go.
And speaking of having trouble with technology, understand that Land Rover has resumed their production after this data breach hack, whatever you want to call it.
To like 35 days or something of not making a car.
And the ripple effects are pretty crazy too. The British government is thinking about stepping in and helping out some of these suppliers, the smaller suppliers that help Land Rover. And the British government is thinking about a loan, to sort of a bridge loan for Land Rover. I can't think of another time that the British government has stepped in and helped out the British car industry. When did that happen?
No, I'm sure it'll be fine though, right?
It worked out last time.
Quality or
clearly
anything.
It worked out.
No, it'll be great.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's going to be great. Yeah, no. Well, with that, I'm glad they're back on their feet. Yeah, British Leland 2.0. Dark territory. Secrets of the Ooze. Yeah, it's going to be great. Well, I'm glad they're back on their feet and that things are rolling again. There's a obviously huge workforce for Land Rover, not just in the UK, but across the world, Slovakia and all over the place. And then of course, probably thousands of part suppliers, right? That are
part suppliers, dealers, blah, 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 blah. It's all like a month is like forever.
It is
in terms
forever,
of a big company,
when they're making, I don't know, it's several hundred cars a day in those factories, if not more, to be down for a month. That's thousands of cars that haven't been made that were, on pre-order, and customers will, be getting them now months later.
But for you Land Rover collectors out there, maybe 2025 is a good year to buy because there's going to be fewer of those. It's going to be rarer.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And maybe they'll pay a little bit more attention, or maybe they're going to be much shittier now because they're just going to be like racing to get through them. Like, that one doesn't have a passenger seat. Just ship it. It doesn't matter. We'll fix it at the port.
So the news is that there's some suspicion that Russia is possibly behind the Land Rover hacking scandal.
You would think if Russia wanted to sort of hobble a country, they would actually have more Land Rovers imported into that country. As opposed
They're
to
like
less,
making
right?
improvements to their infrastructure.
Like they're just sort of upgrading things subtly in the background, and they're like, oh man, now everybody I know drives a Land Rover and they're all broken, and they're like, oh, it's like someone purposely flooded the market with these vehicles that are highly unreliable.
Reminds me of the Russian spies from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That's exactly right.
Boris and Natasha.
Yeah, that's exactly
Bad
right.
enough is good enough.
Exactly. So maybe
we will flood the market with Land Rovers.
Land Rovers. This will drive out quality to Toyotas. Yeah, that's good.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if anything happens with that. But that I read a news article about that today that they were under suspicion for having.
Ooh, yeah.
Of course, they deny everything.
They are, of course, they do, and it is I'm not saying that it isn't, because it probably is them, but they these days are a little bit of a catch-all. Sure. Somebody flies a drone through your backyard, and it's like, that's got to be the Russians. And that's.
You wouldn't doubt it.
And the Russians probably are like, was that us? We don't know. No,
we don't know.
No, we didn't do that. Did we? We don't know.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, hard to say. Well, with that, again, we have Ralf and Kathleen from the venerable
AutoWorks
performance Land Rover manufacturer. And also Toyota. They make Toyota stuff as well. And they make amazing bumpers, and they make amazing, custom suspension and things. And we're gonna talk all about Ralf and Kathleen being at Tech Inspection up there in Mammoth. And thank God, because man, there was
be there for a minute. Let's hear all about it.
Yeah, there was a good thing. There was a Land Rover expert there. So without further ado, pop over there. All right. Well, we're back with a very exciting, let's say, panel of guests today to talk a little bit about getting ready for the Rebelle. Both Ralf and Kathleen Sarek are here with us, and you guys were both at the tech inspection at the start line with Jenna and Liza to see them off on this 8-day adventure that they are, as we record here, 2 days in and doing great so far. But welcome. It's always wonderful to have you both on the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Absolutely.
I can't get over it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get into it then, Kathleen. So first of all, I heard you had a little bit of travel excitement on your way getting there. Ralf had to fight a guy on the airplane. And
we were evacuated.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about it. What happened just trying to get there?
Yeah, so we had an early flight. Everything was great. We were, set to go. And we sat on the aircraft for about an hour. And then they said, the mechanical issue, parts got to come from D.C. We've already, missed our connection at this point.
Oh.
So just trying to, stay together. And then getting off the flight and then navigating, okay, so pivot. Mm-hmm. We're going to get there. Mm-hmm. So just trying to, refigure that. And then all of a sudden this screaming. And then I thought someone was having a heart attack. And then I'm like holding my and calling out, call. And just, oh my God. And then it's like, oh no, someone's fighting.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. And then you saw the police officers come in and had to put the fire out. And then all of a sudden a gentleman was being escorted in a wheelchair and had blood all over her leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was crazy. They tied him to a wheelchair, and he was he was groaning and grunting and shaking his head around, and it was crazy. I think he just had
it was
probably
very unfortunate.
An episode, and he hurt some people along the way. He got, I think it's like 4 charges, because we found it. I was like, Kathleen, I bet you this is going to be on the news. Sure enough, because not much happens in our airport, and that was a big one.
The brawl on the breezeway, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Wow.
That was the start to our trip.
Yeah, that's always it's like a rain on your wedding. That's always a fight on your flight to Rebelle is always that's always a good omen.
Yeah, you always hear fight or flight, but never fight on flight.
That's true.
It was crazy. So Kathleen jumped into gear and rebooked us, found a Southwest flight that could just get us there as early as possible, and we ended up landing in Reno at midnight.
Okay.
And then Dolan Toyota
Oh, yeah.
dealership, we were able to rent a Tacoma. so we could be sure to have a 4-wheel drive up. So we could, that's what was recommended in the handbook that the ladies had shared with us on preparing. And so once we were able to lock in with that vehicle, that was so exciting for that opportunity. And then for them to call us back when we were going back to the airport to fly to Reno. And they were able to get us all situated. So we were able to Uber over and get a last minute rental from them to get us
which is
to Mammoth.
Yeah, which is a funny segue. Did not know that you could go to a Toyota dealership and rent a car, like a rental car. Brand new car.
I did not know that either.
$73 a day, and I got a new Tacoma. And participating dealers, it's just like a rental car. So we went to the dealer. They were very supportive because they normally need you to be there in person to rent it. And we kind of sort of name dropped the whole Rebelle thing. And we're like, we got to get to Rebelle. And I guess we'll have to get a normal rental car. And then the manager called back and was like, we'll leave it outside for you. Leave the keys out there. We'll do everything with Beres sign. And so they were super accommodating. And we shuffled over to the dealer. It was definitely tough to navigate around and then, red eye drive all the way out to Mammoth, which is another 3 hours or 3.5 hours.
Absolutely.
That is really nice. And, you can't really do that with a normal car rental.
No, not at all. In fact, it usually takes standing at the counter at a rental place for 2 hours just to get any rental car.
Toyota is a sponsor of the event, so you think there was a tie-in there? And did they knew?
I mean, it was a female manager, and she didn't really say much about it.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe once she saw that it wasn't like, these people aren't making this up, and they just seemed to want to help. And of course, I went to try to find any Land Rover dealer that actually participates in a rental car thing, but it's not a thing at Land Rover.
At Land Rover, yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
To get a 5-year rental.
Awesome.
5-year. Sign all the paperwork and then turn it back in.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So we made it.
Law. You've got a good case for a lemon law in any Land Rover, though. So you can always just be like, listen, this is not working. And you're like, that's how they're supposed to be. That's how they come.
So we did make it. We did make it.
Excellent. Well, and I heard, thank goodness that you both made it, because there was a problem with nearly every Land Rover, save our Land Rover, there was a problem with nearly every Land Rover up there.
Nearly. No, small nuance thing.
That's just a part of the journey with the Land Rover community.
I know. I love it. I love it that, like, Ralph, that you guys became the most popular people on the event there for a little while, as no one's Land Rover was working properly until the Team Sarek arrived, and then no problem, just got to work.
Yeah, it was what? Go ahead, Kathleen.
No, but then with all the shuffle from our commute home last night, and then jumping on and seeing, capturing what we could of last night before my eyes were closing, the bolt. And I'm like,
yes. Yes. So even after all of that, for those who haven't been, tuned right in, and for those of you who have not, we're recording this in the past, so we haven't actually posted it yet, but Brody and I are doing a daily recap of the Rebelle it started on Saturday, which is today, which we haven't done it yet, but you'll have already listened to it by the time you listen to this. So that's the fun of podcasting time travel. But yes, the girls on their first day spent part of the afternoon of that first day tapping a lower suspension bolt back into place, fearing that it was going to fall out. So what's the story? What's the story there?
With the bolt?
Yeah, I mean, the bolt is, it's a bolt, and it, basically, long or short, it just connects that rear shock to the bottom, rear suspension knuckle. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, there was no more nut on the end of the bolt, and the bolt was apparently walking out, and seems like it was impacting the rim a little bit, and that's kind of how the ladies noticed it.
Yeah, making scraping noise,
Yeah, so when we first heard it, we were mortified. We were like, oh no, the truck's falling apart. But how did they finish? They finished pretty well.
Yes, they finished great. 11th place official after last night and this was, of course, not last night. This was on Friday night. The official standings had them in 11th place, which is fantastic for a first day. That'd be very good. That bodes. In fact, I think I don't know. I have to go back and look. I think that might be our best first day finish of all of the years of competing. So, yeah, so they did no worries about the nut falling off. That seemed to not impact their performance at all. But no, they nipped that up and
learning that.
Yeah, it seemed like they were too early. They were most everybody was a couple hours early into base camp, and you couldn't even enter. And lo and behold, they were ahead of schedule also. So when they started dealing with having to push that bolt back in and drive a little while and push it back in, apparently they still made it in by like 20 minutes before.
They had time to spare. Yeah, they had time
so
to hang
it was
out
a very
and
moment for that to happen.
The Rebelle.
Yes,
and then they for the first time did that pre-run, which was really cool. And apparently there's a bunch of chaos in that also. And luckily for some other teams, it was
Team 157. Our good friends there, unfortunately, seemed to find a pretty significant mud hole, as that D2 was buried up to its axles.
Yeah, well, their journey started early. Their journey started pretty early because that was actually one of the vehicles that needed a repair. Right before tech inspection. So they went up to the car wash to clean it.
Yes.
And then guess what? My D2 won't start. It just won't start. And it's panic. And then I'm like, go up there and see what we can do. And you can hear the clicking. I'm like, under there and bang on it.
Yeah.
While I turn, and then sure enough, it started. And I'm like, you're going to need a starter. And she's like, well, I have an extra one. And I'm like, cool.
Perfect.
Let's get back to tech inspection and then kind of see if maybe they'll lend a hand or how that all works, because it's kind of before the event, which is better than during.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they did manage to get back there. And it was pretty cool to see these seasoned mechanics doing the repair. And I don't know if either of you have had the pleasure of doing a Rover V8 starter.
Yes,
the top bolt is a bear. And I kept saying, I was like, especially your first one, you got to kind of fly blind in there.
Yeah.
And get that Allen socket in that bolt and try to get that out of there.
Needing like 5 extensions to get in there or something, and maybe the tight reach or something. But
it's one guy up top and another, and it took them a good little while and learning curve, but they managed to do it, and they got Laura a starter, and so she was able to pass tech inspection, and
she was able
get
to
on the road
right into the mud.
She drove. We were watching, because we keep her on our favorite on the app, right?
Course,
the tracker. And it's like the truck's not moving. And then it started moving on the road, and I'm like, is that a tow truck or is this driving?
What's happening there?
I never would have thought, again, especially in that terrain, that you would be stuck in mud. But
now that brings up another point. Have you guys ever visited this area before? No, it's pretty interesting. The terrain, as you mentioned, is pretty varied, especially when you get that sort of mud playa area. It can be really, really difficult crossing some of those playas where there's like a crust and it looks super dry. It just looks like desert, and then you break through and it's just like total
soup underneath,
bottomless mud forever.
Yeah, they were buried. They were buried.
There's nothing to winch to.
Yeah,
it's just so it's bad. It can be.
So she made the highlight reel for sure. She was apparently determined to get herself unstuck with no help.
Now this Discovery 2, it's the like sort of dark red maroon kind of color.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Now there was another vehicle that had a mechanical failure, and it was the transmission.
Yeah.
And it was like a similar, if not the same color, and it was a similar vintage vehicle, but it turned out it was a Land Cruiser. But when I first saw them like pulling the transmission out, I was like, oh no. Oh no. They had like a stuck in the mud, the starter, and now the transmission's out of it. I was like, but it turned out it was the Land Cruiser people, and I was like, I don't care about them.
Yeah, that's fine. They can break. Yeah, so they, and there's a couple D2s in there. So there's also what we call it,
of course.
Bernard was
the
there.
World's most famous Discovery 2, and it is the only, and I stand by this statement, the only working D2 in the world. That thing is,
it's a monster.
It's invincible.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a monster.
Invincible.
The first time I saw it was at the National Rally, I believe. Maybe in 2021.
Yeah. And we saw Marie and Jen. I think everybody's driving.
Jen and Marie. Yeah.
Really incredible to see the red.
Really cool.
Bernard reminds me of an anecdote that I heard from a person that worked at the Land Rover factory, and the anecdote was that they would periodically take a group of like 50 vehicles and test drive them. and they would like make notes on each vehicle, and then there would be like a group of like 4 or 5 that somehow, throughout the production process were just assembled better than all the others, and they drove better than all the others.
Yeah.
And they would take that small group of vehicles and then they would like tear them down and figure out why. And I was like, Bernard, that's Bernard. He's
Bernard is that,
top group.
He's just like, it was a good day. It wasn't a Friday. It was like, I don't know, it was something. It wasn't before a holiday. Like, they were paying attention when they built Bernard.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And to Marie's credit, I mean, they definitely do not baby that vehicle. Bernard has had a hard life, but he loves
the testament. It's a testament to the discoveries, because it was cool to see 2 D2s. Apparently there was a third. But it did have a problem or something.
And they had to swap out, to something.
I think they're a Nissan or something like that. The daily driver, they were able to get, I think it was head gaskets. I can't imagine that happening on the Rover V8.
Way out of line.
It does. I mean, when does that ever happen?
That's right. Yeah.
That was I was a little bit like skeptical on that. I'm like, really?
The Hohens, of course, the only team that have competed together for the entire 10 years. They are the nicest people in the entire world. Also, the Hohen Land Rover, one of the largest Land Rover dealers here in California as well, and beautiful, wonderful people. And they're doing great. They're middle of the pack as always, and they're
team one.
Trudging through, man. They are incredible people, really wonderful people, really.
Yeah. We got a chance to meet them on the other Land Rover groups, and it was very nice to meet them.
Beautiful coffee time on that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Erin and her family, I mean, are largely responsible for the Rebelle kind of getting kicked off, too, because in the first couple of years, it was essentially Hohen-provided Land Rovers, and that's kind of for like the first 2 years. And so, without Karen and the gang, who knows where it would be. But no, it's great. Those they're always doing well. Obviously, they know their stuff. They... they cut through real
I'm always surprised that, they just are very consistent throughout the entire event. I feel like there would be a certain point, if the event were long enough, they would win every year.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Just by consistency alone. Because they're very even keel. And then there is no less than 3 new Land Rover Defenders, which is really cool. I think that is a huge statement that there are the sort of factory supported team, begrudgingly factory supported team. And
it's at 118, right?
Yeah, 118.
Avis and Stephanie.
Stephanie is a wonderful person, a great driver, and obviously we were co-teammates with her last year.
Nice.
And she is just fantastic. Works for Jaguar Land Rover as a sales rep, regional rep here for California. Driving her company car. That's the car that the company car that Land Rover gives her, and they're doing well. I think they had a Terra Trip that blew up on them. We've certainly struggled with the Terra Trip.
We watched them early today too, and there was some time they spent driving a little bit. Maybe they're still dialing the Terra Trip in.
Yeah,
getting their bearings.
They got a spare from another team, which is great. And that's where, unfortunately on those cars, and we have tried for years, but you can't get a speed pulse from the CAN bus because it's encrypted, or you can get it from the CAN bus, you can't get it from the OBD2 port because it's encrypted. And so, you're stuck with either GPS, or if you have the Team Sarek, an actual mechanical probe on your new Land Rover, which is a very rare thing, and that works the treat, man. That is so we're carrying 2 Terra Trips this year, one mechanical and one GPS, one satellite, and that's fantastic.
I heard y'all had some fun trying to get that thing to get proper pickup.
Yeah, it's funny because, we always run the 1.5 mil pickup. It's just a little hall sensor, right? That's just looking for a little metal running.
Well, I think it's actually a VR sensor. So I think it's one that creates that AC pulse.
That's right. It's meant to. It's essentially a diode.
It's a magnet.
Right?
Yeah.
It looks like a diode to a test meter, but a diode of a difference of about 0.5 volt. So not a lot. And the distance that we use is 1.5 millimeters. They also make a 3.5 millimeter one, but because the Camel Trophy trucks all ran the 1.5 with a little flag sticking up off the drive shaft, it would just kind of go in front of. God forbid you get your hand under there or something while it's running. But that's just what we've had. And, these new cars, there's, so many parts that are non-ferrous, like just putting enough metal underneath it ended up being the challenge, but we got there.
Yeah.
A big chunk of metal under there.
I saw the handiwork. It looks good.
It's handy for sure. That was a Jenna and Liza first thing in the morning at a. Thankfully, we're here in the northern part of Los Angeles, where most of the fighter aircraft for the United States Air Force are made. So there are some bolt suppliers and things out in Palmdale and Lancaster that are, you can get anything. And those guys, I feel like they're always up for a challenge. I think they pretty much just put boxes of bolts in other boxes for a living. So when somebody rolls in with a rally car looking for some help, I think they really jumped to it and found something that worked. So
so it was nice. Yeah. And also on that Avis and Stephanie team, Avis and Rob, her husband, actually lived in Richmond, which is kind of a wild story.
Wow.
Yeah. So they, and I'd known Avis and Rob for years and never really made the connection. They ended up moving out west. And they left Richmond.
Cool.
And so I met, and Rob was up there supporting his wife. And so I did get a chance to, talk to them again. And it was just wild to be like, oh, so you know Stephanie. And it's just such a small world, So that was really fun to meet them.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it just goes to show you it is a Land Rover community is really something, and especially in events like this where, I'm sure you noticed Ford Racing's, approach to the event, and they're no less than $7 million worth of cars in the event this year, H1 factory supported and hand built for those folks. But, we don't quite have that, but we have a lot of spirit. And in an event like this, it isn't the Baja, it isn't the Dakar, it isn't about who can spend the most on their vehicle. It's about who's the best prepared. Yeah. And I think that, that's where...
when the results...
I mean, the score right now says that it's the $1 million trophy trucks, essentially. But just give it time. Give it time. Give it time.
I mean, 7 Land Rovers. I mean, how cool is that?
Well, not only do you have the 7 Land Rovers, but then you also have a few Grenadiers, right? That are Land Rover adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One step removed, for sure.
Yeah, well, Warner is a big dealership, I guess, out in Salt Lake. They also sponsor the event now, too.
That's right. They are,
And not each, but actually the dealership does. And they brought at least 2 trucks, if not 3, that are sort of supported by Warner. One was a really cool, like, quad cab, tray back type of, build. Really cool. So, it's cool to see the diversity, and even all, the Subarus. They're so much fun too. Carrie Lando is amazing, and they got this cute new little puppy. They actually got that puppy at Overland Expo Mountain.
Huh?
They had a little
sold puppies at Overland.
It's like a puppy mill.
You could have.
It was an adoption thing, and they saw this little puppy, and it's the sweetest little puppy. And they
puppy actually came with its own rooftop tent.
Yes, it was an Overland puppy.
Right on the shoulder.
The puppy was there, and her husband was there. It was cool to see them again, and what a great group of women. I mean, I'm just very fortunate to be able to go out there and watch them as they're starting their mapping. It was very cool to get into the tech inspection, but also their prep. It's amazing.
Goes into it on so many levels, and then seeing these trails that Emily creates, Miller.
Yeah, there's some really nice areas to explore out there, and I don't know if you guys got an opportunity to do any of those while you were there, but it's
you're rented Tacoma. I mean, it's rented.
Cool. I should have.
Whatever you want. Yeah, exactly.
I should have.
Rentals are the most capable vehicles.
That's true.
Is it Iridium? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah. The satellite provider.
It's magnificent coverage, and being able to see. We put it on the big screen, so it's just been fabulous to watch the coverage and all the folks that put that work in and day out and make that rally happen. It was just, and 10th annual.
No, it's amazing.
It was just really.
A lot of, you can tell they put in a lot of effort. Now, follow-up question to that, Kathleen. I've heard some rumors that you have some interest in participating at some time. Was this a partially a mission?
Possibly.
Okay.
I'll have to get back to you because I did purchase a Land Rover Defender, a D90, 2023 when I returned from the Overland Expo, Loveland, Colorado, because I had a hard time getting back into my i3 after handing off the D90 to the ladies.
Because Kathleen drove that truck all the way from Richmond to Colorado for the handoff. So she drove it.
Usually, just riding along. to the rallies and so
and
forth.
And you like the 90. I don't think I've driven a 90. I think I've only driven the 110, to be honest.
The 90's pretty good.
And they're only going to get more unusual because I guess the price on the 90s jumped up to almost, if not more than the 110s for some reason.
Yeah, it's like one of the most expensive Land Rovers you can buy now because you can't get the base engine in it anymore, which is a bummer because I've always wanted a 90, but from a practicality standpoint, it doesn't really make sense. But we're going to have to buy this 90 now because it's a famous race car.
Look, it is pretty famous. It looks the wrap was also just incredible. They did a great job with the decals.
Outdid themselves. All the sponsors, a part of Team 155 with General Mindset, has just been incredible to watch and see happen and have the opportunity to be a part of it has just been really priceless and a little emotional even. So thank you.
No, and it wouldn't be possible. I mean, certainly it wouldn't be possible without the two of you because there is no rally without the car. And certainly, coming from, and listen, we have a great relationship with JLR and they're a lot of fun to work with, but it is a completely different experience. Let's say when you're a privateer and you're working with people who are just as passionate about it as you are, and they aren't part of a giant multinational conglomerate, but they're, a family, and that's really what the team is all about. And even, the Maxis folks, which is a big company, but still, very much focused on, the team and the support. And it's just been awesome. Even the Pennzoil folks have been really cool. And, we've got a lot of Pennzoil around here now. They sent, so I don't know how much oil they think goes in a Defender, or maybe they heard Land Rover and they're like, just double it. But we've got a lot of
I've
extra
been using
Pennzoils
it for cooking oil.
Yeah, for sure.
So what you guys do?
It works.
It's got a really low smoke point, so it's real nice. Yeah, it's real nice.
No, it was good to see the sponsors roll in. At first, it was a little quiet. I was going to all my, contacts. I was going to Olim's. I was going to, and there was, I know Jenna and Liza have dealt with many thanks but no thanks, or just, sure, and then nothing, then crickets. But then as the momentum started and they started to get, and they got some really good sponsors too. It was like, it was just really nice to see that they were getting this momentum and this support, it was great.
The first vehicle that started it all for them in 22, and then seeing where they've come. That rig alone was just so beautiful. And the wrap then too, that was just so exciting for me, and reading about it in the Rovers magazine and about them. I believe that was at a Wintergreen event. So being able to share that with the Boggs and the Steels and really exciting. And to see you all again. When we started in
that's the worst part.
That's the worst
from
part
Destination Defender to it's just been a really incredible journey with you all, and then just seeing all these women at this event was just mind blowing, and the men behind the women. And then their vehicles alone is just, and then all of them accomplished, 100%. And Emily's, and seeing these trails that are created day in and day out, and the opportunity to be on them and to tread lightly.
I would highly recommend exploring that area if you ever get the opportunity. Hopefully you'll be able to go back there because
our list.
It's pretty amazing.
Just driving by, it was just like,
teams that
oh my God.
Those Overland opportunities too.
Yeah.
And you all, the Underpowered Hour, I feel like that gave us the confidence for me to reach out to some of the dealerships to borrow a vehicle, to be able to ride in other vehicles, like the Steels or Bob Steele being able to ride in your vehicle when we came out.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually did get the Camel Trophy truck back, which we weren't 100% sure was going to happen. But no, Bob brought it back better than he found it, and we appreciate it. I don't think he wanted to bring it back, but he
would have kept it.
Begrudgingly, he did.
We do share a lot of vehicles in the Land Rover community, and it seems like wherever you go in the world, somebody is really, happy to jump in and say, hey, would you like to borrow my this, that, or the other? And it really is a special aspect of the Land Rover community. I know I've met a lot of other car enthusiasts, and sometimes they're like, don't even touch my vehicle.
Yes, exactly.
They're definitely a little more protective, a little more standoffish, and Land Rover people are pretty welcoming.
Oh yeah, if you can start one of my cars, you're welcome to have it. It's fine. I leave the keys in them in parking lots because
you just hope they get stolen. You got your insurance company.
Oh my God, that'd be great. I could use a couple less of the shitty things, but that's all right. Well, this just in, score update here, midday. Score updates usually happen between 1 and 2 o'clock. The girls are in 8th place overall and 6th place in their group.
Woo!
Pretty good.
All right.
Holy moly. That's midday here on Saturday the 11th. So
what I like to do. One thing I like to do is look at the model year of the teams that are ahead of them to see if they're all like factory supported teams.
Well, here you have it. So here's why not just run through the top 5 right now. Number 1 is actually a privateer team, 2023 Ford Bronco Raptor, which for those keeping score is a trophy truck that was homologated specifically for events like this. Then the next 3 teams after that are all Ford Racing Bronco Raptors, then an Ineos Grenadier, then Nina's Team Jeep Factory Gladiator, then another Ford Racing Bronco, and then your one and only Land Rover Defender 90 Team 155. So
all but one are factory teams.
It is us, and it is another Ford Bronco that are factory team that are not factory teams. Every other one is basically Ford Racing Grenadier or Team Jeep.
Yep. That's amazing.
So speaking of race vehicles, I mean, the crazy thing is there's a NAS 110 in this thing.
There is
a
110.
Yeah. And guess what? I got to work on it.
Oh, fantastic. That surprises me, Ralph. Really?
Was it was it a coolant thermistor sensor?
No, they were about to fail tech inspection.
Oh, no.
And it was for a very nuanced, 2 things. One of them was silly. One of them was a leaky drain plug. I mean, I think somebody was looking a little too close.
That's how they come from the factory.
Yeah, I said another inspector came by and a little more, veteran guy, and he's like, for that, and he's like, just wipe it off. So they were able to skate that, but they did have a kinked brake line, a hard line on the right front caliper. So it's got that nuanced little short line. So somebody, I don't know, looks like a dog got a hold of it or something, but it was all kind of mangled up for some reason. And it was a crisis.
Yeah.
One thing that I've seen happen is the tube nut will stick onto the line.
Yeah.
And then when somebody goes to turn it to replace that, it twists the line around.
Yeah, it was pretty, it wasn't terrible, but the guy saw it and was like, nope, you got to fix it. And then it was like, the young team that was, I've got their info here. So the NAS 110, it's Pam and Dana.
Yeah, Pam and Dana. That's right.
So Pam and Dana, Team 103. They were, they're first timers, right? So this is their first event.
Rookie year.
Rookie year. So again, there was some anxiety there. I believe they had their better halves there too, or really lesser halves.
Everyone took things so calm and cool, collected.
They were stressed, and then they were like, what do we do? And I looked at them. I was like, well, you can get some brake line. I was like, I'll make you a brake line. It's not a big deal. It's just a matter of...
You had your travel flare kit with you?
Yeah, I did not. But luckily, that...
and have some availability to the techs and the tools.
Well, they have this incredible support team of mechanics, and they pretty much carry almost everything. Yeah. And then they were like, well, you can use some of our stuff, but we can't really do it for you.
Yeah.
So then it was like, I don't know how to do this. And because it is a little bit unique and specialized, Ike probably knows this too. We end up making so many brake lines for these old trucks that it becomes kind of second nature. It's like, oh, we have fittings too. It's like, yeah, but they're not going to fit a Land Rover because they look like they fit, but they don't quite fit. I was like, well, reuse the fittings, but they had to find brake line. And so they had to go around town. They did get some pre-made lengths steel line. Yeah, I asked if they wanted me to help, and they definitely wanted me to help. And so right after that, they were still failed for tech inspection, and we went over to where where they had all the mechanics set up in the parking lot. And, I was like, get a line clamp or vice grips and clamp off that line, and let's take and I told them, I was like, they got their hands in there, right? They were using the wrenches and taking the line off, got the line flared and, put some pretty decent bends, and I was actually surprised myself without a tubing bender. But it, managed to make the line and stuck it back on there and bled the brake out. And then they got there, they came over and looked and made sure it wasn't leaking or anything. And then they got the big thumbs up and everybody cheered and it was great. So
how long did that process take?
The actual process it was more time, definitely more time finding the parts. That took a few hours. The actual process of taking that off after they had the tire off, maybe 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Because if you clamp that hose off, you're not letting a bunch of air in. So pretty much get a couple pumps out of it, bleed it out, wash it off with water. And
it's fine.
And luckily, the flares were good, because on steel, it's a little not as forgiving as like something like Nikov. But it worked out great.
And they have a time period in which to make that tech inspection.
Yes.
What's the time limit?
I want to say as long as you are done before the race starts or the rally starts.
Okay.
So they could have taken all night, as far as I remember, to fix it, but they have to go to the mechanic or the lead guy, the inspector. You have to see that it's been fixed. And then
I thought there was a cutoff time.
There was a cutoff time to get into tech inspection. But there was another team that was rolling in that rolled in late, and I forget what they were, but they got in right as the rally started. They were doing something overnight and won't let has to be a certain level of oil leak. They can't let go by, but they're not super strict, but they wanted battery cables to be tied down. And, the standard stuff. They wanted everything tightened. So they were checking to see if bolts were tight and stuff like that. So it was cool to see it and kind of be able to be around it.
Yeah. In a Land Rover, tight battery cables, that could be a safety hazard because, when you have a dash fire, you want to be able to pull those terminals off in a hurry.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you want to be able to get them out of
there. 3 fuses that are in the vehicle to protect it. Yeah,
that's right. Exactly.
Yeah. So that was fun, though, to be able to help them out. They were super appreciative, wanted to buy me dinner or whatever. And I'm like, you don't have to worry about that. It's just great. And they are from California. Exactly. Yeah. But they are, and it's a beautiful truck. I mean, really nice one.
I think they're a Northern California team. I don't remember exactly.
It's got a black cage, right?
Yeah.
Instead of a white cage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They were a relatively late addition to the stack there, so I haven't had a chance to meet them. But what a fantastic, it's just fantastic. I mean, again, thank goodness you were there, you two, because what would all these Land Rovers have done without you? It would have been a 2 Land Rover event, it sounds like.
What was the repair count, Ralph?
The starter, right? Which I sort of just gave, emotional support with, right? Okay. Just told, hey, you get that Allen socket, look on, and good luck getting that top bolt out. I wasn't, trying to crawl in there. I would have done it probably if there was nothing else. Apparently, they could get some help from the mechanics before it started. Yeah. And that was nice because they're ready to work. Those guys, I mean, they're putting that transmission in that truck out there right now.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Nick and his team are
It's incredible.
I mean, it is. And did you get a chance to see their truck unfolded? I mean, just fantastic. Like, the
whole race truck and all the tools in it, and then the tow truck with the big boom off the back of it
is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nick told you because he obviously loves frustration. He just bought a Discovery.
I did hear that. He wasn't really letting everybody know.
No, I think in that crowd it's a little taboo.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But, no, I love his hook truck, man. That's a cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I think there was the support vehicle, that L322. Jim is he was kind of hired to sort of be media / chase vehicle kind of thing. I know he handles some of the sponsor level stuff. He dials in. Super nice guy. But he had his hood open after we were, given guidance with the starter. And I look over and cliche go, what? That doesn't run either? And he's like over there, like trying to undo the battery box and stuff. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, crank no start. I'm like, and so I jumped over and lended him a hand to get to a diagnostic level. And it was needless to say, it was a connector on the fuel pump. They tend to burn up in that area. So I believe they got that repaired and he was able to get rolling. So I was a Diag guy, but I had my school clothes on. I didn't really want to get all dirty.
The guardian angel of
Land Rover repair. Yeah. Well, we will certainly chat with you guys again as we get closer, but certainly post finish line, because you are headed out to join the team at the finish line and enjoy the festivities. You guys are going to have just an incredible time. They put on such a great event, and man, you get to try Drew Deckman's, Michelin star tent food, which is like, who knew, right? Come on, it's insane.
Mind blowing.
Yeah,
it will be. Yeah, you guys are going to have such a good time. Maybe they'll take you out in one of the Total Chaos sand rails. I would definitely take them up on that, because that is a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for all your support.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for being a part of the team and for supporting not just our team, but Land Rover as a community. And we look forward to chatting with you guys again in the very near future.
Same.
And thank you again. Thank you for everything you do. But it's been a great journey. Incredible. So
unbelievable.
And next week we'll be flying out. So we'll hopefully finish it up.
No fights on the airplane, hopefully.
No fights on the airplane.
Rush.
It's a direct flight. Hopefully Hopefully they won't get too upset if maybe it was just the fact the plane was broken.
You never know. It just sets
you never know.
You never know.
I've been in the airport and I've had those feelings. So
You just didn't act on them, right?
I empathize.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at that, Team Sarek, thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
And thank you for being the Dream Team pit crew and Land Rover's general pit crew as well.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, there you have it. They are underway. And again, thank goodness for Ralf and Kathleen for being there. It sounds like Kathleen may have stopped a fight on an airplane that possibly Ralf caused. We don't know. We're not sure about the details there. They're still coming out. But definitely they helped a lot of Land Rovers get out onto the event that maybe otherwise wouldn't have had such an easy time. So there you go.
Fixing everything.
And
well, thanks to those guys for doing that, being there, being supportive. It takes a village, so
it sure does. And all of our all the team sponsors, everyone involved in Ye Olde Team 55 and their pursuit of excellence in this event. It's great to see everybody rallying around, if you will, the event and the troops. And we'll again every day you can tune in and get the little news update from Brody and I, and you can also check it out on the Rebelle Rally website. You can live track, you can scorecard, you can every way you want. You can bet on like horse racing through I'm sure we should do that on our site. We should do some live betting.
What's that?
Or maybe launch a coin.
Rebelle Rally OnlyFans, is that what you said?
Oh yeah. That's right. Exactly. It's just this show, just behind a paywall. That's all.
Show behind a paywall.
Extremely disappointing.
So disappointing. Well, we'll get some first-time users.
Right. Well, that's it for this week. And by the time we get around to next week, that'll be it. That'll be the Rebelle Rally 2025 in the books, and we'll see what the results are. So stay tuned during the week for all of the hard-hitting, exciting Rebelle news. And we'll talk to you next week. The Underpowered Hour is produced by Liza Beres, Ike Goss, and me, Steve Beres. Pavel Svardov composed and performed our theme music. Consider supporting the show on Patreon, and if you already do, thank you. Your support makes the show possible. For even more, check out our Instagram or Facebook.